studios closed en masse globally. And so we really had no idea what was to come. And so we went through several weeks of getting our legs under us, trying to decide how was the business going to evolve, how serious was the problem. And what we learned is that, as is the case with most big problems, it presents really unique opportunities for change and adaptation. So we made a decision as a management team very quickly to adapt our business. And if you had heard us or come to see us at URSA this year, or FIBO, which obviously neither happened, we would have talked to you about StagesCloud, which was a new product of ours, a cloud-based service for the studio and for the floor of the club, which we're very excited about. We continue to be very excited about. Once COVID hit us, we clearly could see that the opportunity to help our commercial customers address the rapidly changing and growing home fitness market was going to be an important decision to make. And so we made that decision, and we invested further in StagesCloud to create StagesStudio NOW. And effectively, we've created an entire business around this decision of ours, which Mike Catterall leads. And we're very excited about it. And simply put, I think many of you may know that we have a positioning in our company that goes like this. We feel like the business is about your brand, not our brand. And we're very intentional in saying this. We've actually even used that in some of our marketing materials, our website, and so forth, because we really do feel like, as an important member of the commercial fitness industry, our focus needs to be on our commercial customers. And what we're seeing now is a large number of companies who are creating their own brands to market to the consumer in response to this demand for home fitness. And it's a very big market, and it's growing. We have made the decision to not address that market opportunity directly as our own brand. Rather, our decision has been to partner and work with our commercial customers to help them develop their brands, to help them extend their brands into the homes of their members as they determine which path is best to take. So, Kristin, I'll stop there. I could go on for a bit. I know we're going to be limited, but that's really the essence of what we decided to do in the early days of this. And now we need to partner with our customers to understand how they want to go forward with us. And we hope that is on strategy for them.
Yeah, I love that messaging, Jim. Hope that resonates with all of our customers that are watching today and in the future. StagesStudio was 2 years in the making, and that was, just like you said, Jim, StagesCloud was going to be, our big focus in the trade shows this past year. But StagesStudio was 2 years in the making. And Mike, can you just share how Stages pivoted and accelerated this technology and the focus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 2 years ago we looked at the market and the technology and where we currently were in our platforms and said the future is going to be a combination of virtualizing as studios expand and actually making it more simple for our commercial customers to be able to run their studio applications. And then as part of that, we've been building this virtual cloud environment and StagesCloud, which we'll talk a little more detail how StagesStudio sits on top of that. But then with COVID, we were actually able to pivot it and take that same underlying technology, and instead of pointing it at the studio, the virtualization we were already doing for the studios, now we're able to then take that and move it into the app, which then becomes Studio Now and allows us to actually start integrating your customers at home with you in the studio. So the overall goal here is really one ecosystem that you are creating for your members, where it's, again, as Jim was talking about, as it's your brand, you're reaching out to them, you're creating those communities, you're not just streaming them data that they're not watching, or they're watching as if they're watching a movie. So we were able, that virtualization and all the work we've done on the cloud platform that allows us to create these virtual environments has then allowed us over the last 6 months to pivot into what is now the Studio Now product. And I know we're going to talk a lot more about that, but that's at least at a high level.
Well, that's great. Can you just spend just a couple more minutes, Mike, just talking about the Stages ecosystem, really what that means? That word's thrown out around a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a dangerous word. So, and a couple of things on that. We're really, the bet that Jim is placing in this area of the commercial fitness space is that the studios and the clubs that are going to be, and chains that are going to be successful into the future, we're focused on creating an ecosystem for you, or helping you create that ecosystem where your members are, even post-COVID, whatever that is, are going to take a combination of at-home, in-studio classes. So not making those look like two separate experiences for them. It's one experience for you, for your members, right? So for example, I am going into the studio and I have my favorite instructor and I'm taking their class, but then I'm also going at home and I'm connecting my home bike, or ultimately connecting, and we'll talk about this a little more, connecting my treadmill, my rowing machine, or whatever it is, and I'm still taking some classes from my favorite instructor. So now I'm able to create that community, interact with the studios, so that I'm not just consuming, I'm actually being part of that studio community. And I think when we talk about that ecosystem, it's all of that. It's how do we integrate into your CRM so that you're making sure you're managing that experience with the customers? How do we allow you to actually connect bikes at home? How do we allow you to stay close to your favorite instructors? And then even taking that further, how do we allow for example, traditionally bike boutique studio that only offers cycling, how can now they expand their offerings and add yoga or add some kind of HIIT class that people can take at home? So really creating that whole sense of additional offering that's not just in the short term, but that's what the long term view is going to look like, or the long term reality is going to be. So.
Well, I'm excited to just talk and share exactly what the app is all about. But before that, Jim, do you want to just give a couple words on how simplifying the virtual process is important for our customers?
Well, it's obviously a time of transition for our commercial customers in terms of thinking of their business model differently. And the industry has grown up around attracting a community of members to their facilities. And obviously, some of that's changing. And the change was really underway prior to COVID. We were already seeing quite a number of consumer-oriented fitness companies with varying levels of success selling the concept of combining home fitness or replacing the fitness facility with a home fitness subscription. And I have to say that I personally believe that for the commercial fitness industry, this is a very dangerous trend in terms of new brands and new value propositions from consumer-oriented brands effectively hijacking membership dues from the commercial facility to that consumer-only brand. And I personally believe this is a threat to the commercial fitness industry. I feel like the commercial fitness industry, the studio industry, should take this very seriously and view these brands for what they are, which is seeking the same dollars for membership that the commercial fitness industry has built an entire industry around. So as that has been taking place, we felt like there's a lot of pieces that can make this very complicated. There's the equipment piece, there's the content piece, there's marketing. There can be a lot of expenses, operating expenses attached to this. not the least of which is the opportunity to, deliver that content or deliver that experience from the facility to the members' home. So our strategy has been, as mentioned at the outset, is to create a number of different choices, ranging from standard inside the box selections from our cloud service to highly customized enterprise-wide type solutions. So we have the ability to invest in the way that the customer sees fit for their strategy. Again, it's about your brand, not our brand. And some customers have one idea on how to solve this problem. Others have different ideas. And what we've done is we've built a platform that can be very, very flexible. And we've surrounded the platform with highly talented people like you, Kristin, and like Mike, and many others that aren't on this call. And what I would say is that we want to make this as simple as possible on the technology side and on the modality side, so the fitness club can do the same things they do inside their building, which is offer a great service with great instructors and really create this new model, which is a combination of at-home fitness in parallel, combined with the fitness facility. And we believe that's the best type of strategy that you can adopt. And again, I got to say, I think for commercial customers out there that are listening to this, I will always make the point that let's not let these consumer brands take your revenue. And that's what they want to do. That's exactly what they want to do. And we need to be better, and we need to compete together to prevent that from happening. And so, I get a little worked up about this, frankly, because this is our industry. This is our industry, and we need to defend it, and we need to build it together for the long haul.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I think you open the door right now to Mike to explain exactly what StagesStudio Now is all about.
Yep.
Mike, can you just how does it work? What can our customers expect?
Yeah, and I think going back to one of the earlier comments is we've really created this product that is a couple of different feature sets or many products within it between Studio and Studio Now. So the goal and the way that it's been designed and built, so I'm very handsy, the way it's been designed and built is the experience from an instructor point of view, and from a studio point of view, is the same whether I'm dealing with physically in the studio or I'm dealing with my members at home. The flip side for that, even more importantly, is the member experience is the same, right? When we built Studio Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. We looked and said, there's a couple of pillars to make this successful into the future. One, it has to be able to interact with your CRM. We're not trying to be, our lane is not being your CRM provider. We're not trying to take that away. So interacting with your CRM so that you're doing all of those things and dealing with your members like you do today. But then just layering on, now I can actually do the virtual piece for folks at home. Secondly, I need to be able to deliver content, and either my own content or even be able to expand content and then potentially create additional revenue streams that way. Thirdly, how am I going to do social interaction? And that social interaction may be in the class, right? A lot of people are obviously doing on demand, and everybody has to have an on-demand option at some point, but being able to do scheduling classes so that we're all going in and we're taking the classes together, even though we're at home, getting that interaction. How do we then keep layering on additional social interaction over the course of time and getting people to come back, right? And getting them to interact with their favorite instructors. And then the last pillar there is the connectivity. So I'm at home. I'm also, and I know Jim will talk a little bit about this, I want to be able to get either a Stages bike or some other piece of equipment at home that I can connect into the Studio Now app. And a key piece of that is we've taken a line in the sand, and this is part of the overall Stages philosophy. It's about your brand. I mean, we'd obviously love you on our equipment as much as possible, but we will let you connect anything, right? The most important thing is that our commercial customers provide as many opportunities to get their members into the Studio Now app as possible. So that may be connecting a third-party bike or a third-party, ultimately whatever, right? So that's, I think, important in this. So that's at least kind of a little bit of background. From a Studio Now point of view, we really look at it at 3 different levels of how you deliver that content. So the first is just a scheduled, so I'm going to schedule multiple classes, and the way that we're architected is we can have multiple virtual rooms. Some of our customers are looking to do a room per instructor, or a room per type of class, whether it's a yoga class or a cycling class or whatever it is. So I can have multiple different types of schedules, and then within that I have my pre-recorded content. And that includes everything that you would expect from Stages. That allows you to do the plans, or what some people traditionally would call the profiles across the bottom, where we are doing and staying in our zones. And if I'm doing a threshold test at home, we're able to do those tests at home, all the same functionalities if I was physically sitting in the studio. So I can run that, and when we're in the class, I can see who else is in the class, and we're starting to add on more and more social interaction related to that. The second option then will be a live stream on a scheduled basis. So that's with a live instructor. And we'll come back to that one because I think it's important for people to understand. That gets really complicated very quickly. As Jim said, we've got people way smarter than me on the technology side handling all the live streaming stuff, but we're trying to make it easy. So if you want just a basic live streaming option, plug and play is a dangerous word, but it literally, I have a PC and I'm selecting my microphone, I'm selecting my camera, and off I go. So making it easy for you to be able to do the live stream, versus someone who actually then has built a pre-built studio, has really complicated encoding and all that type of front-end equipment, then they can stream it directly to us, and then we'll have both options covered depending what your business model is, and then you can evolve over time. And then the last one would obviously be just a pure video on demand, where I'm going in and creating an experience, right? And here's where things start becoming different to what a lot of the competitors are doing. Is the experience is not just I'm watching a video that's pre-recorded. When I'm taking that experience, I'm still taking a plan, right? That experience may be I'm taking a ride through Italy, and it has a plan against it, and included in that is a threshold test so I can reset my zones. All of those functions that you would get in the studio, you're now getting at home, right? So that's at least at a high level what's baked into the Studio Now product. Sorry, that was a lot of data. Sorry.
No, I mean, that was amazing. There's like
I've had a lot of coffee.
There's a couple features for me that, like I just want to reinforce and highlight for those that are listening. And one, the key differentiator for us is the connectivity, right? You can be streaming your content via Facebook or Instagram or Zoom, but you cannot connect a heart rate monitor, and you cannot connect a power meter. And those are critical. We know that our customers love the data, right? Like yep. that is so cool. So we know that people are excited about that. It's also cool that you don't have to have the hardware. Like we have this cloud that that we have been working on, and is the ecosystem to what we've got, and that enables an instructor to go and film from a park or from their living room, that you don't have to have all of this hardware. So those are just two of the things that I thought I would just reinforce there. But
yeah, and I think if you, without diving into technical stuff, if you look at it, you have some options, right? And what people are doing, you talk about Facebook Live and Vimeo and some of the streaming options is, excuse me, companies that are really good at streaming, right? And they're good at getting content out there, whether it's on demand or live, and they're really good at streaming. But then you don't have the connectivity. The other options there are you can do these video calls, which are fine, but the quality is not good and it's not designed to scale. So, and then you're also not having the connectivity. So you've really got to look, when you take a step back, you've got to say, I've got my CRM, and how am I going to interact with my customers? How am I going to connect? How am I going to stream and be able to potentially scale, right? I'm now not just looking at my geographic area, I'm looking across the country, or ultimately, hopefully, outside of the borders of that. How do I scale it? Which then throws all these video calls out of the works. And then how am I going to get that interaction between myself and my members, and really create that community? And even more than that interaction, it's I go into the studio, I take a class, I get my stats, I get my workout details. I'm at home, that's being added to my stats. I'm still getting that same overall experience coming out of that. I'm not picking and choosing doing, where I'm getting it from. We want to simplify that for how the commercial customer delivers it, and simplify that from a member point of view. There's just so much noise out there. I want to go to one place. I want to consume it from one place, and that will tell me whether I'm going into the studio or not going to the studio. So
Yeah. And that's the connectivity pieces, we really want to reinforce too. I mean, we want to make sure that those members stay connected with their favorite instructors. I know in my own personal club, like my noon yoga class is like my favorite ever thing. And if I can't go to that class, I can take it from home. So keeping that connectivity with your members and with your instructors is what this app is really going to provide. Jim, do you have anything else that you want to add on to kind of your favorite piece of StagesStudio?
Yeah. Well, just to build on something Mike said, there's little things about our complete offering that are going to be different than competitors of ours who are offering perhaps cloud services or live streaming capability. I would submit that because we are in the industry and we are a cycling company first and foremost, that's what got us to this point, is the Stages Cycling mission, which is to provide the best possible experience for the cycling consumer and the cycling facility. And so things like power meters and connectivity and the fine points of cycling, the cycling experience within the home, which we think the best scenario is when that experience replicates what's in the studio, which is a primary focus of ours. So what I would tell our customers in the industry is all of these things are important. So a cloud service can be hugely helpful, but really the cloud service has to deliver a great experience, and that includes the content and the experience on the bike. And I think for the really successful models around the world, this will require all of the pieces and getting all of them right. And I think what we can offer is really that complete solution, the kind of the integrated promise versus just pieces of it that can come together for whatever reason. And we're part of this industry. We're going to be in this industry for the long haul. I would argue that in a time like this, there's companies that are popping up that may be interested in fitness, but maybe they're just interested in the kind of the rise of the tide on the immediacy of the opportunity. But that's not us. We've made the choice to invest in this for the long haul. Frankly, we think this combination of home and facility is here to stay. And for the commercial clubs and studios who really take time to thoughtfully put this together and build it for the long haul, I frankly, it's gonna be a net positive increase in membership for them. Cycling, consumer-oriented cycling is very hot around the world. I mean, in every part of the world. There will be members of the household that maybe haven't been members of the facility, or they haven't been into the studio that will be interested in cycling in the home. So I think if this is done correctly and different options are provided, this should be viewed as a way to increase membership, not just maintain existing membership. And again, the word of warning for me simply is we're in a competitive battle to keep members in their clubs and studios, and we want to work with all of our customers to make sure that they come out ahead here. And that's why we've done what we've done. We haven't hunkered down during the pandemic. We've invested. We will continue to invest. You can count on us to come to you with the latest and greatest as it relates to cycling. And that's not just about the modality. It's going to be about the delivery of the experience. And that's where we're going to be state-of-the-art category leaders, and really excited about it.
Yeah, and Kristin, maybe just to add, to add one thing to that is, I think it's important, as Jim talks about long-term, this is a long term. We've obviously pivoted and created essentially a new product for the home in the last 6 months, even though we've been working on the infrastructure and the StagesCloud piece for the last couple of years. But it is an evolutionary process. So, the initial goals of, yeah, we can get yoga, we can get that delivery, we can get that non-cycling pieces. But from a connectivity point of view, initially coming out with cycling and heart rate, because we already know how to do all that. But as we look at that long-term strategy and roadmap with our commercial customers, it is adding on treadmills, it is adding on rowing machines. There's a lot of connectivity pieces that I think if you look at it and you say, okay, here's where we are now, and this comes back to some of the earlier statements. Like in the beginning, when COVID happened, a lot of us, like, what do we do? Okay, we just got to get content out there. We've got to try and keep hold of our members. We've got to try and stop this revenue loss, right? So we don't look at it as where it is now. There is also, what does that future look like? As we add more and more social interaction, as we add more and more connectivity pieces, as we add more and more options around the content side, then, it is really a long-term continued partnership like we've always done at Stages. But I'm looking at the end of 2020 as the starting point of really the future of this virtual, semi-virtual world of ours. That was a little corny, but whatever.
Well, appreciate it. Well, this was such a good talk. And, we really, first of all, we welcome any questions. If anybody wants to put a question in the chat, if anyone wants to learn more and how we can, utilize this platform for your gym or for your studio, obviously, we would love to talk to you. So please, please, please reach out. Thanks, Jim and Mike. Thank you so much for taking the time to share this great information with everyone. And, I know that it is just going to be received, and excited to get it into the marketplace. And there's going to be a lot of excitement around it. So thank you so much for giving everybody a preview today.
You're welcome.
Very good.
Can I say one more thing? So one more thing, just to be maybe even a little clearer on, it's about your brand. So especially for for existing customers and flight customers, we've spent a lot of time looking at making sure that, for lack of a better term, the reskinning. So as this continues to evolve as a product, it's going to look less and less, even now when your customers go in. We want them to have that experience from home, that they're not going into a Stages product, right? They're coming to your product. So there's a lot of work going on from a branding point of view that's just going to continue to get more and more configurable for how that look and feel, so that ultimately, your customers will, quite frankly, not even know that we're there, other than they may know that we're there. So I think that's important for the long term as well, and that is a huge focus of how everything is being designed. So
great. Well, thanks, Mike.
I'll get off my soapbox.
I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I think we could say goodbye, and
thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.